We're live. Michelle. Good people, welcome. We are the African Unicorns, and we are going live for the first time. We're just making sure that the technology is working with us.
Is this supposed to show on? Oh, it is. This is so cool.
What? She's
It's so cool. I love it. Let me give you your first mic. Wait, no.
Live as African Unicorns, not
Liz,
myself, right?
Yeah. Are you as yourself?
No, I don't think I'm as myself. Now I'm confused.
Come through, good people.
So I'm gonna go to African Unicorns. My bad.
We are live streaming on For Black Power, Africa Week 2020. African Live. Yeah. Echo will not work.
No, I don't think I'm as myself. Now I'm confused.
Come through.
Wait, it's
Hold on. Sorry. Difficult.
This is what you can expect here with us, keeping it real 1000%, working with what we have. Sometimes things won't work. We're going to laugh at it and keep working anyway.
Yep.
We are now live on Instagram.
Yes, we are.
How can I share this live thing?
You can't share the live on Instagram. You can share the live on Facebook. So do that.
I'm struggling with it.
But it gives notification to anyone.
True.
All right, people are tuning in. That's exciting. This is our first live, and we're all like pretty excited and pumped about this. Come in. Welcome.
Tag your friends. Tell your friends to tell their friends. We have some serious talk here. As you come in, tell us where you're tuning in from. Tell us who you are, what you're tuning in from, and what Black Power means to you.
All right, we'll give it another minute. Let people get settled in, get logged in, get comfortable, and then we'll go ahead and kick it off.
Yes.
We got Senegal in the house. We got Rwanda in the house. And then we got Maryland. Maryland.
And we have Liz tuning in from the UK. Hey, Liz. When you see me looking this way, I'm looking at your comments so we can integrate them into the discussion. Yeah. So the reason this is live is so this can be an engagement. Ask your questions. Tell us we're being fools. Give us thumbs up if you agree with what we're saying. And we are ready.
Should we kick it off?
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. We are super excited to get this show on the road. It's been a long time in the making. We've been having so many conversations about this, and we figured now is the time more than ever to actually go ahead and do this. I think in the beginning we were very stuck in terms of like launching this as a traditional podcast, but we're so not tech savvy. We're just not, and we tried. Maybe one day we'll do it. But for now, we're just about using our resources. About the setup here is actually very amazing and hilarious at the same time. We got some kitchenware that we've set up on top of just to get the computers propped up and stuff. So,
we'll take some pictures and post them on Insta later. So make sure to follow.
Yes. We are, like we said, we're tuning in from Maryland in the US. We've got Jean-Michel in Rwanda. We've got Jara in Senegal. So just as a primer, it's perfectly normal in Africa that electricity sometimes just cuts out unannounced. So if Jean-Michel and Jara, for unknown reason, just drop off at any moment's notice,
we will flip it to this.
We are BRB. We're coming back. So yeah, just bear with us if there are any technical difficulties. We're trying this our first time and we're very excited about it. So we'll go ahead and get started with introductions. Very basic, essentially where we're from, where we're based, why we're doing this individually. So I'll start with myself and then we'll just go around. So my name is Inas Hajaban. Hi, everybody. I'm based in Maryland. We're all actually from, we all met, the way that we kind of all came together, we're all studying in Towson University. It's okay if you don't know it, it's cool. We have some Towson pride. Tigers go, woo, yay.
Yes, tigers turned unicorns.
Tigers turned unicorns. So we have always gotten together and had some amazing conversations in Towson. Specifically, if you're a Towson alum, if you remember the Den, that's essentially where it all started. We just come together. It was just like a little dingy cafe. And we just sat and talked. And eventually our conversations drew a crowd, literally, with people just coming in, participating and saying how dope it is. Because we're talking about anything Africa related, where we're from, our heritage, current events, like politics, like anything under the sun. Like we literally just talked about it. And so, you know, it's pretty dope. We always thought this is something that we always wanted to do. Our conversations are always wholesome. So we're here now. We're bringing it to everybody, sharing our knowledge, formally, academically, where what we studied, and also personally bringing our experiences in terms of where we're from, where we're coming from, and providing that unique unicorn perspective. So that's why I'm doing it, because I, you know, there's also in the backdrop of everything that's happening globally, Black Lives Matter movement, just all the injustices that are happening around the world, for us as Black people. And I think we all need to come together and not just, you know, also just share the good, like what is actually happening. That's pretty good. That doesn't really get highlighted in mainstream media, or frankly doesn't get talked about much. So I'm here to bring that perspective, and hopefully we can share the positive and good things about Africa and our perspectives and where we come from. So yeah, I'm excited. We're kicking it off on the Global Day of Action, which is today, November 22nd, 2020, as part of the For Black Power movement. So this is a global day of action. If we can all just commit to doing one thing for the empowerment and uplifting of Black people around the world, and simply for us here, we're coming together to share our perspectives and those great stories and what's happening around the continent. So yeah, that's my spiel.
That's your spiel.
Yeah.
You're ready?
Yeah.
We're ready for it. I can go. I'll go now. Hello, my name is Dima Mahmoud. I am tuning in from Maryland. I'm Nubian from Sudan, grew up in Egypt, a much older tiger. There was some changes, but everything Ines said about how we engage and the conversations we have and how comfortable we are being real with each other, that ultimately it ends up being, more people need to hear this. More people need to hear this, more people need to hear this, more people need to hear this. And then this is something that I'm sure at least a handful of you have a handful of friends who have these kind of conversations, and you're tuning in and you're saying, more people need to hear this, more people need to hear this, more people need to hear this. And why we're launching today is we want to do something. We're all doing something anyway. Why can't we do it together? Why can't we share it with one another so that we all know what we're doing? So we're not reinventing the wheel. So we're not all doing the same thing and then there's a whole void somewhere else in some discipline. The truth of the matter is we're everything. We have built this world over and over and over again. The system is standing on our backs and we're just treading with hesitation. So we're done treading with hesitation. We're done going slow. We're starting to fly here. Unicorns in the air.
Yeah,
we're bringing magic. we're going to rant in rainbows. It's going to be colorful. We are going to be mindful, and we here is the royal we to censor some of these words because we want everyone, young, old, to hear it. Mom, if you're tuning in, I'm sorry I don't have any makeup on. Priorities. But it's as real as it gets. Ask your questions. We're here to ask more questions. We're here to ask what's right with Africa. Because sure, yeah, there's a lot of things that may be looking extremely catastrophic and grim, but there are so many things that are right. Let's focus on where we're channeling our energies. Let's focus on where that horn is looking. Focus and move forward. I'm here for it. Thank you for tuning in. And that's my film.
All right. So Jean-Michel, let's go ahead and go to you next.
All right, great. Hey everyone, my name is Jean-Michel Habineza. I am currently speaking from Rwanda, so that's why it's dark out here. Yeah, it's almost 7 p.m. First of all, I'd say I'm excited to think about. I think to illustrate the reasons why I'm doing this is a few days ago when we were thinking about this, I thought, oh, but what's the topic and how should I prepare for it? And they're like, you don't prepare, you just have a conversation like we normally have. So these are conversations that are decade old, and we've known each other, and we used to spend nights sitting and thinking about all these ideas. And even when we meet, we'll still sit, and it's a mixture of laughter and anger and like fascination. So one moment we'll go from really talking about really stupid things and all of that. The next moment we're talking about really deep stuff. But I think all of that comes from a place of love and a place of respect for each other, and also a passion for our continent. So I'm currently in Rwanda. I run a debate program for secondary students. I have always believed that I think our young people are intelligent, that they're smart, and if we give them the tools, they can amaze us. And that's what I've dedicated my career to, making sure that and I think what is most exciting about being here is just like Dima and Inas have said, I think there's a lot of great things happening and no one is hearing. What I see on the ground is very different from what we see on TV. And I'm excited to be able to bring on that kind of perspective, but then also being able to say, well, we're not shying away from what is not working, right? We're not saying that everything is perfect. We're actually saying we are not some hopeless people who are waiting for things to change. We're here making sure these things change. And I'm excited to be here with friends that I love and admire and respect and all of that great stuff. And I'm so glad that you get to see what I've seen for years, just a lot of brilliant people here. All right, so I'm excited, and that was my long, short introduction.
Nice. Thank you, Jean-Michel. I'm glad the internet is holding up in Rwanda.
Hey, don't jinx it.
Let's go to Jara and see how Senegal is doing.
Oh, we're starting with the oppression Olympics already.
All right, Jara, the floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jara Sabali. I am Senegambian from Senegal and Gambia. So West Africa. I, like, Inas and Jean-Michel said, and Dima, we all met in Towson. And, this started with conversations in Towson and conversations on the Residence Tower. If you live in Towson, you would know what the Residence Tower is. It's like where all the international students, the first place they put international students. So we're just all international and just all having these really great conversations. And also, it wasn't just the four of us. It was a bigger group. Most folks from the group are actually not on right now because we got older and people got married and moved on. But
they moved on.
Ouch!
It's like we're all I think we're all in touch. I'm not. If you were a part of the conversation and I have not been in touch with you, I'm so sorry. Shout out to all of the folks that were part of the group and are not here today. Shout out to the folks that I'm still in touch with and the folks that I'm not still in touch with. I'm so sorry. Like I said, we all grew up and went our separate ways. That's what I meant. But really excited to be here. This is a great conversation to have as young Africans right now. We are, I'm going to use my high school motto. Whoever is following this and went to my high school, you would know what it means. But we are the leaders of tomorrow. So I think we're at that age, at that point when it comes to Africa. So it's time for us to have these discussions and time for us to, be part of the table where these big discussions are happening. So it's so that's why I'm here for this. So yeah, that's my introduction.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. So as you can see, we have people from all over. I hope you got a different flavor of just kind of why everybody's tuning in and why we're doing this. And it's pretty much, I think, all of this whole show's objectives, I think, have been addressed in one way or the other. I think with everybody just giving their why as to why they're actually being part of this. But yeah, so I mean, we're here to provide that silver lining, our niche in this, from this unicorn perspective, right? if you haven't been able to put that together yet, we're very serious about this whole unicorn thing. So it is that. It's just a unique perspective, right? So we're here to share that and bring that understanding. And also we want to hear from you guys. We please in the comments, write your questions, challenge us. If you think something is a different perspective needs to be highlighted, please feel free to do that. We're here for the engagement also, and for us to share this and also have a lively conversation. So please feel free to do that. So I think we're pretty much ready to segue into our discussion, right? So
yeah, which you've started with.
Oh yes.
Pinning Rwanda against Senegal with the stronger internet.
See what I'm doing there? I'm feeding into it. I fell for the trap. So here's the thing. Our topic is the Oppression Olympics. So it's funny, we coined this term. I would say it's a African unicorn coined term. I'll go ahead and take that glory. All of us.
The Oppression Olympics?
The Oppression Olympics.
That was out there before us. That was out there before us.
But so this idea that we're all competing for whose struggle is worse. I don't think that's a great place to be in general. But let's talk about it. Why are we still, as we move forward, what we're still fighting amongst each other. And I think, the call here is to stop that. And we all need to come together and unite. And I think we've been hearing that message, but directly addressing it, we're still competing with each other to win that jollof rice war. You know what I'm saying? In West Africa, we're still having the debate about whose jollof rice is better.
And they're dragging the rest of Africa into it.
Yeah.
Because if you have one friend from somewhere in West, you need to know that their jollof rice is the jollof rice.
Right.
Is the real one.
And I think it was fascinating to me because I don't know, just as recently at work, before this whole pandemic and before this whole quarantine thing, we're still having the competition for who makes the best jollof rice, which country is going to win it. And it was baffling to me that we're honestly still having that conversation. Not just that conversation, we're engaging in the actual competing and putting it live. We're actually doing it. And so perpetuating it doesn't help us to get, and can we just zoom back and look at the bigger picture as to what that does, and that competition, it's not really helping.
And how it filters into everything, how it pours into everything else. Like you said, we fall in the trap. Something as simple as, Rwanda versus, but this is a generational thing. We grow up being compared and contrasted to our siblings, to our cousins, to our neighbors, to whoever, which is
right.
It becomes ingrained. So you grow up comparing yourselves to others as opposed to saying, all right, well, let's try and come together. Let's see what we can learn from each other. Let's see. So it ends up pouring in your work. It ends up pouring in your personal relationships. Am I being treated the same way as this person's being treated? Is this is someone being treated better? And also, it's not a comparison of just who's more oppressed. There's also, who has it better, so doesn't have to worry about X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I think for me, what is really confusing was that on one side, in the very beginning, people did not acknowledge that people have gone through a lot of things, right? So yes, it's true, the world is messed up. There's a lot of injustices, and I think that's a good starting point, right? But then the problem is that when we take that starting point, then we're competing to see who has it worse. And I think it's confusing because you're like, but wait, this is not where we're supposed to end, as if that is like the final ending. Like that always starts, this was acknowledging that things have happened. It's sort of like, okay, now we know with what we're working with, and then we're going with that to build onto something. And I think that when we spend a lot of time bickering and saying, oh, we have it worse, this one had it worse, oh, you have an easy life, I think it diminishes the power that we could have, right? It's like acknowledging that one had the pain does not take away your own pain, right? And acknowledging that you probably suffer, it doesn't mean that we have to compare. And then when we get into the comparing, I honestly feel like we lose power and we lose strength, because then we're just busy, saying, oh, I had it worse, I had it worse. But the question is, okay, cool, you all had it different ways, but there's definitely somebody who's making sure that you are bickering with one another so that you don't notice that you're all being oppressed by the same systems, or they're all going through the same issues. It's just that you call it different names. So for me, I think that I don't know where all these things that became that to be the most conscious of leaders, you have to just be the one who is able, to win at the Oppression Olympics. But it doesn't take us into responsibility of saying, like, let's actually do something. Let's do something. Let's move. And then it ends up being just sometimes frustrating, because then we bicker about really small things, to be honest.
You dropped a key word there, Jean-Michel. Responsibility. Jara, do you want to take that away?
Honestly, I think it all started with colonialism, and then went from there. I blame most of Africa's problems on colonialism. So I know the whole responsibility thing is there, but I do blame most of our problems on colonialism. I blame the way we were divided, the way we were forced to compete against each other, the way we were forced to, when it came to just so many things, our borders were cut, and just everything else that, colonizers did. I think that is what pushed this oppression Olympics. Because even them, it's like, so you have the British coming in, the French coming in. And the other day, like, I was just I wasn't really having a conversation with my mom, but it just came up, and she was just like, I'm assuming the British were worse than the French because at least the French did this and that. And it's just like they were both horrible. It's like they were both terrible. Like there's nothing good about showing up at someone's country and saying, "Hey, I'm going to steal all of your stuff and teach you ABC because that's what's better." Like there's nothing good about that. So I think that just us saying, man, the French were at least better than the British, to colonize. No, have you seen the Portuguese? No, have you seen what Belgium did to DRC? It was all bad. I mean, there were degrees of horrible, but it was all bad. So we don't have to sit here and say, well, at least like, I don't know, they did this and like at least they gave us a hospital. Like, are you kidding me? Like we've been living for centuries. And we were fine. And all of a sudden, it's like, no, they gave us good roads and like one dingy hospital, but then they stole like this, all of our land, which they're still doing, but well, that's a conversation for another day. So, anyways, that's where I think it's coming from. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's a bit different what they're doing today, though, because today we're actually giving them that land. The misleaders that we have
colonialism
on the continent
level of
are giving it. So maybe the root cause, we can say, started with colonialism. But what's happening now is as much an active contribution of people of African ancestry as much as it is the system. Because if we're not ready to point the finger and say, you're part of the problem, I'm going to pretend that you're not part of the problem because you look like me, or because you're my cousin, or because you're my brother, or because you're my father, or because anything in the world. If you are part of the problem, you are part of the problem. It does not matter who you are. And I encourage everyone to go back and listen to the live earlier this morning, the kickoff of the Global Day of Action by Rais from Cape Verde. He was dropping some gems this morning about how we are channeling our energy to this oppression. And even if it ceases to actually exist, as long as we are channeling our energy there, it exists in our mind. And so by default, we are operating on the basis that it is here, and the fact that it is a problem and not a challenge that we can overcome. This is a completely different story.
Yes. But you see, that's the different kind of mentality. No, it's okay. I think, to be honest, I mean, that's a different kind of mindset. Because if we have the mindset of like victimhood, then everything is like we excuse ourselves from any action. So we become the powerless victim of some power that is out there. That, sometimes I make jokes and I say, well, guys, what's like, have you met like the system? Like, have you touched the system? Or have you, like, because it ends up being this really thing where we're victims of everything. But while you were talking, I also was thinking of, Frantz Fanon, right? The Wretched of the Earth. And he talks about it in the chapter on the bourgeoisie. He talks about this bourgeoisie that is basically they enjoy drinking wine and eating cheese. And he says that they are basically are not against colonial. I mean, it was like before end of colonialism. He said they portray themselves as being anti-colonial, but they're not really anti-colonial. They just hate colonialism when the white man is on top. What they want is to uphold the same system so that they are the ones on top. So now we have two, like the wretched or like the populace has to deal with two levels. There is of course the colonialist, but there's also the bourgeois. There's the middle class who wants to act, like their French counterparts, and whose life is the same as the ones in Paris or New York or anything like that. And they're going to screw up the life of the Africans. And I think that they are as responsible as anyone else when it comes to this whole mess.
Did you want to add something before I jump in there?
No, go ahead. Bring it home.
Just to drive that home again. It goes back to us accepting this at least that Jara was talking. At least they gave us good roads. At least they talked. What do you mean? We were functioning and we were going around the world before they came and built their roads. If the price of the roads is our entire heritage, our entire past, and our entire future, let them take those roads. We cannot keep accepting, at least because that is the first step for us to start dividing, for them to keep conquering, because we start dividing because at least is literally throwing some crumbs, and then we all start getting to these crumbs, and who got a bigger crumb than the other? And no, you got 2 crumbs instead of 1, but you already have crumbs at home because you've been hibernating. It goes into a completely different dimension of things, and it normalizes injustice. It normalizes oppression. It dilutes the magnitude of this psychological warfare that's been waged, and we're complacent in it.
And I think that's precisely, it goes back to this whole generational conditioning aspect, is that, you know, yeah, taking it back to colonialism, it's with being pinned against the other person, and against the other groups. This whole divide and conquer, you know, philosophy, which was adopted by colonizers, in which, you know, where tribalism came in and really just, you know, took on a completely different pitting against each other in a way that's it's like seeing the other person like the enemy. And so that is something that we have been conditioned. And I think at a certain point, we need to stop that and recognize those patterns. And it starts with also just the language. You know, we need to stop using phrases and things like "at least" and well, we have this, and we have one developed road that we should be okay with, and you know, we've got the hospital, and we've got this, and look how far we've come. But we can't be complacent about that, because this is not good enough. Like, you know, we need more. And I think it's one thing is we do need to stop and check the vocab that we're using, because we just can't be that complacent and, you know, stop at least and be just fine with that. I think we do need to demand more, and now it's the time.
And how we do it. Who are we demanding this from? Because we can't keep demanding it from a system that is built for us to believe we are lacking, right, that is built for us to not grow, to not demand, to not believe that we deserve anything. A system that came from lacking and projected into each and every one of us, and somehow we've accepted it, we've internalized it, and now every step we take, we're manifesting it like it's the norm. We're forgetting that we come from greatness. We're forgetting that our history does not start by slavery.
You know what I'm saying?
Just like, huh?
You know what I'm saying? That was deep. I think that needs to like marinate.
No, it's true. Yeah, for real. Because I mean, if people control the terms of the discussion, and they control the history that you're going to teach and learn, then they have controlled everything that you can think of. So we live within a certain box and says, you know, the only Africa is Africa, just, you know, either slavery or even, you know, colonialism, and that's the Africa that we learn. And of course, what does it tell us about, you know, our whole history that is far more vast and diverse than they would, you know, admit. But, you know, it takes work. It takes work to do a lot of learning and providing, even adding that perspective that Africa is not just a place of receiving. Like, we have given so much to the world, but, you know, it's like, oh, we have this. Now we've built so much of the world, and a lot of the systems that we use have roots in Africa, but, you know, you would never hear that because it doesn't fit into the image that people have of what Africa is.
Narrative.
The narrative, controlling our own narratives. And I think that's a really, really huge part of it. And I think in this world of the war of misinformation and kind of what's being perpetuated as truth, and it's it's not the truth. You know, it's how do we control our own narrative to bring about what it is that we want to give to the world, what it is that we want the world to see. And I think now it's obviously, you know, with globalization and just kind of how internet works. I mean, we are connected more than we're easily now connected more so than ever before. You know, you don't have to take a ship and like spend 4 months at sea to get somewhere. You know, I mean, you can still do that, but that's not where we're at right now. So we got to use our resources like here, like right now. These are the platforms that we have access to, and we can like literally live stream this and showcase what it is that we stand for, showcase, you know, control our own narrative. And whether that only starts from like a small place from your circle, and hopefully that expands to the outside of to the outside network, and friends of friends sharing, and eventually that will catch on. And even if it's challenge, I mean, I'm of the personal belief that even if I'm challenging one person's perspective and hopefully that leads into the deconstruction of that, or at least just bringing that different light of what Africa is about, or what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in Senegal, what's currently happening, all of the revolutions that are actually taking place as we speak in Africa. Like, where is that being projected? And we can't stop. We can't say mainstream media, you're not showing what it is that we want to show. And I think we need to actually take that narrative back for ourselves. Thank you, unicorns.
Yes.
For agreeing.
Spirit agrees.
I will take that as a sign. But literally working with what we have. I mean, we got tape up there.
Tape.
So for our lovely backdrop, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's literally it. Like, we got to control our own narrative.
We were going to take it a step further and actually color them in brown and black, but you know, we decided to chill with it for a bit. But we'll leave it there. Yeah.
I mean, we're still having conversations. We're still having, I mean, I'm still baffled by this. I mean, there's still the argument about East and West Africa, right? Like, which one is better? Like, which culture is better? Which history brings more of an enriched perspective? You know, pinning the East against the West, and whether we're talking about our women, and whether we're talking about what goods we bring to the world, and that's just got to stop amongst ourselves. Like, you know, we need to stop that conditioning of having to be pinned against each other, even just in our conversations, like even in our own dealings. And I think one thing in this group, I think we all keep each other honest when it comes to like things like that. You know, I got called out earlier for perpetuating some conditional, generational conditioning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I'm gonna bring it up. No, I'm gonna bring, because it's eating inside. Because you know, you said we're comparing East and West, and I'm just like, there's no comparison here, because as far as I'm concerned, and I've made it PG friendly as much as I can. This is what Africa's telling the world, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see if we can get it.
I just be gentle so it doesn't get knocked out. You know what I'm saying?
Can everyone see it? It says, so just we can settle this East-West business once and for all. Back the F up, sprinkle it. Today is not the day I will shank you with my horn. And that is what Africa is starting to tell the world. They're about to get shanked. And it's not just from the continent. It is from her and her diaspora, because we are rising everywhere. If you didn't know, it's Black History Month in Brazil. It's Black Consciousness Month. Follow the hashtag Woke with Brazil. Learn that history. Find out what's going on. Tune in to Rise and what he was saying earlier. What's happening in Portugal, to Black people in the UK, to Black people in Australia, in Japan, in China. Wherever we are, our struggle is one. And we need to start looking at it as such, to be able to address it as such. I can take this off now and continue drinking. This is a bit of oppression and liberty here. I'm still healing. So this is a healing circle.
But I think, like, going back to what, like, Inas was saying with the world getting smaller, I think the conversation between East and West, I think it, well, I'll say personally, because I don't know what everyone sees, but I personally think that that conversation is slowly dying, like which one's better, East or West. That conversation, I see it slowly dying because I'm seeing a lot of collaboration amongst East, West, North, South and like among Africans, especially young Africans. The division I don't see as much, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I am seeing more, like in the music industry, I'm seeing more of a blend between East, West, North, and South. Like you're seeing Wizkid, he's collaborating with like South African artists, East African artists. So and the West is learning about East African music. East is learning about West African music. North and Central, because it's not just East and West. You have North, South. All of that. So I think that conversation. I'm not saying it's dead, of course, but I think it's slowly dying. And I think this newer generation, I guguess millennials or whatever, or Generation X, are actually before millennials. I think that's before. I don't know, but
Yara, you're a millennial.
I'm what?
You're a millennial.
You're one of them.
I feel like I'm a baby boomer, but in my head, I'm a baby boomer.
The soul.
So these youngsters these days, I see them they're more like, prone to just, connecting with other folks from another side of the continent. And I think Inas said, the world is smaller now, so it's easier for us to connect. So yeah, I think that it's good that that conversation is dying down, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing a lot of like great mesh, and not only in the like music industry, but in the film industry. Like the other day, I was watching this movie called Citation. It is a Nigerian movie with some Senegal into it. I mean, could have thought. I mean, it's a French and English, but they got to make this really good, awesome movie, and they talked about really great stuff within Africa, because Nigeria and Senegal, we might all be in the West, but so like so definitely I'm seeing the collaboration and loving it. That was my sense.
You see it today specifically as a global day of action for Black Power. You see people and organizations that don't know each other, that are starting to follow each other to learn something about what's happening in another movement, and yielding their platform to tell their followers to follow that other group, to find out about those other movements. And that it's about how we use what we have. And this is why Inas was saying, we're working with what we have. We have some amazing Moroccan tagine under this iPad that's propping it up. And if you see the background here, it's literally working with what we have. So yeah, we have the internet. We have such a powerful tool at our fingertips. It's so powerful that when regimes that are so terrified of crumbling and know they have messed up will cut the internet out so you don't use it to send out the message. This is what happened in Sudan. This is what's happening now in every place you're seeing an uprising popping. You'll find, oh, the internet is starting to tremble. Even what started in Africa Week 2020 earlier in May, the tech gremlin attack has been nonstop and continues. Emails don't make it. The web starts breaking up. But the thing is, we just have to keep going, keep creating, keep connecting these dots. Keep marching, because this is a revolution of consciousness. There is no stopping a revolution. You bring it back. Find someone else is rising somewhere. Yesterday, I learned about the Togo crisis for the first time. We have so much to learn about each other. So much to find out about. I had no idea about the quilombos in Brazil. Find out. Ask more questions. And if you don't know, put it out there. Use the internet to put it out there. Get people to tell you, okay, this is someone you can follow. This is someone you can use the hashtags. It's being tracked. Use it as such. Have a platform, go live. I can't actually believe that I'm saying that, because I was so against it. It's like, no, I don't want to go live. I don't want to. What do you mean go live? What do you mean, like, speak to people and speak my thoughts? And my thoughts are very happy in my head, but no, my head can no longer contain the thoughts, because they're buzzing. They are buzzing because it's time for these thoughts to go out, to manifest into action. And I urge you once again to go and see that live on YouTube on Cultiva Podcast, because someone on the chat, someone who was tuning in earlier today, asked Raiz, let's talk about solutions. And that brother dropped the realest thing. What do you mean let's talk about? There's no talking about solution. There's no guide to waking up. No one tells you how to wake up. You wake up. That's all we need to do. Wake up. And sure, we can try to wake each other up. We can come here. I tried waking Ines up last night. She's like, no, I'm happy where I am here. When I'm ready to wake up and move, I will wake up and move. And this is it. This is it. We can come and share the knowledge. We can come and say, hey, did you know this is going on? Did you know this is happening? And sure, you will get, called the buzzkill, or you'll be like, is it all politics all the time? Must you always bring in the what's happening? Yes. And I'm not bringing it as something that is grim that is happening. I am bringing it to tell you that we are rising, that the grounds are shaking under those misleaders. They don't know what to do, because they know the second one of them drops, and I mean really drops, not like the fake dropping that's happening in Sudan, because that's fake dropping, and we can have 3 other episodes just about that. But they know that once one of them actually drops, the rest will follow like domino. That's really all it is.
And that's the perfect segue actually for our last words, because we can do this for a few hours. This is just like this is the tip of the iceberg. Oh, I don't think so. I think we're just like warming up, but I think for the sake of time and for
yes, Ines is our designated timekeeper. We do have questions. Can we make an exception for the first one?
Okay, all right. We'll take
okay, let's take a question. Yes, we have a question,
because we did say this was
we have
be
Faustine Amara saying great dialogue. Thank you for tuning in, sis. And then we have Myron. What does the future hold for many of the African nations and regions from the perspective of autonomy and self-determination? 2 starting points. 1, the Chinese investment in infrastructure, roads and railroads. 2, the dam in Ethiopia on the Nile River for power generation. These types of activities appear to me and an American getting filtered news as signs of promise for shredding psychological links to the colonial past.
Yo, there's so much to unpack here.
I think that's like another 3 episodes on its own.
Yeah, no, you're on point.
Any takers? Any takers? Because if I start, there's no stopping me for another hour, and I will definitely need to stop before that. Let's let that marinate. Yeah, Myron, thank you for that question.
Indeed.
Or those questions. And we have Ayman, fellow tiger. Assalamu alaikum.
1,000 tigers on the map.
Enjoying the conversation, tuning in from Hyattsville, Maryland.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Ayman. Back to Myron's question. There is promise. Yes. Though you will find that this promise is not coming from any government-led anything. Because any government-led anything has a seal of approval from whoever's pulling these strings, and best believe every single government has a string pulling it. Because if we didn't, we would actually have African leaders. We do not have African leaders. We have national leaders. We have some leaders that are doing good for their country. Some. But African leaders, as in leaders who are working for the collective of people of African ancestry, do not exist in offices. We are on streets, we are in schools, we are on platforms like this. We are out sacrificing our lives, risking our families, risking everything so that the future comes clean. The future comes understanding that we are the very symbol of resilience. We are the very embodiment of creation, of greatness, of power. I stop here. I yield.
And I think as just like last words, it's hard to follow after that. But as something very practical, it's like, how do we break this cycle, right? How do we, how do we move ahead? Like, how do we, we need to stop this fighting internally, first of all, like, and recognize that we're all one, whether that is a Black Lives Matter movement in America, and it's that's sprouting, and it's amplified everywhere. That struggle, that Black people struggle, is everywhere. It's everywhere throughout Africa, and we're all going through it. And if we recognize that, if we recognize that our struggle is one against us as people, and that's the first thing. And I think you also have to check yourself. Like, what are you personally doing as one? And how are you perpetuating this impression Olympics? And you got to check yourself first. I mean, are you going for the gold medal, or are you going for the bronze? Like, are you a bystander, like in the audience? Like, what are you doing?
You know, for God's sake, aren't you tired?
What are you doing? Like, we gotta stop with, we gotta check our vocab. Like, how are we even talking about this revolution? Are we still engaging in those conversations and settling for the at least, and settling for what we have now, and recognizing that it's good and we just need to stop? And I know life is rough, and I know everybody got families and work and pressure, and it's hard they're competing priorities, but at the same time, you got to recognize where your role is. Not everybody is comfortable going out in the streets and has the time and the luxury of time to be out there protesting, to be out there marching physically. But we all can do something, even from the comforts of our home, and going live is just one example, but joining grassroots organizations that are amplifying and are there for the upliftment of Black people, regardless of where we are, and coming together as one, using our platform and social media and all of it to just amplify that message, and standing for the goodness of that. And there is power of that. I think we underestimate the collective power of coming together and amplifying that and having those conversations, because it does matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does matter, challenging those beliefs and putting that Black pride out there, regardless of where you are. So also, you just got to check yourself. It starts with you in terms of what it is that you are doing yourself on the Global Day of Action towards uplifting Black people. That's it.
Here, Jara, you're muted if you were saying something.
Oh no, I was just giving her a thumbs up. Totally agree with everything that she said. And yes to supporting grassroots organizations, because I feel like a lot of change that like they are the force behind a lot of change that happens in countries, especially developing countries. And grassroots organizations, and okay, now I'm just going into another conversation, but they do not get funding at all. The funding that they need, they don't get it. They do not get it from their government. They don't get it from international organizations. They don't get it from the UN. I mean, most of the funds that's supposed to go towards an issue, a problem, especially in developing countries, it usually goes to like office supplies, hotels, traveling. And by the time it gets to, like, you will send $1 million for an issue, and only 40,000 will get to the grassroots organization. $1 million, and only 40,000 will get to the grassroots organization. So they definitely need to be supported because, and like you were saying, using making do with what you like, just using everything you have to make do. That's what they do to make so much change in developing countries. So it's very like it sucks to see them, just not getting the props that they need and not getting the funding that they need. So yeah, that's my piece.
And I would add, I mean, just on that part, right? So the to be honest, for me, the thing that pisses me off, everyone, oh, we need to have this conversation. I'm like, conversation have been going on for long.
Oh yeah.
The problem is the choices we make, right? The choices we make and the things that we do from here, right? So this is as a way to create. I think we need to create, of course, like the understanding, the theories, and all of that. But it means that this does not change if we don't go out there and actually do the work. And I think it's refusing that. When Jara was talking about um, those grassroots organizations get 40,000, and they're told the things that we talked about earlier. At least you got something, or you should be grateful that you got something, and you should be happy that you have something. And I'm sure anyone who lives in the U.S. particularly, you know what it is being an African or a black person, right? If you are in spaces, you should be grateful that you're here. You should be excited that you're here. And I think we should get to a point where we're like, no, we're tired of that feeling like we have to be grateful for places that we deserve to be in. But it takes a certain level of boldness, though, to say that. And it means it's also a certain level of, well, I must say it, and whatever comes with it, I'll bear with it. It's okay. But there's too many of us who don't have the boldness and the courage to make a stand and say, hey, no, we're moving, we're tired, and we need to be angry. That, to be honest, that's the thing. We're not angry enough, and if we're not angry enough, things don't move. We just be, it's an inconvenience, but it's not really something that makes us angry. And I think there's a power that anger will bring in that no other thing can. And I think that's what we need to focus on.
That point needs to be driven home because that is an ultimate and integral part of the psychological warfare. Because we have been painted as angry, barbaric people, and we have been punished for it. And so there are consequences for being angry. And so we are worried about, and I'm not advocating anger in the let's go burn things out. I'm advocating channeling that energy to do something productive, to build, build. Take a rock on a rock and build. Bang these rocks on top of each other and build. Take an axe and dig and plant some seeds. Take that anger out on the soil, put it in, plant your seeds and watch it grow. And don't do it alone. Whatever it is you're doing, if you're not doing it for yourself alone, don't do it alone. There's no reason for you to do it alone. We're all doing something. Each of us is doing something. Find who's doing what you're doing. Find who's looking to do what you're doing. Later on today, there's a conversation. There's the Puerto Rican family, our family in Puerto Rico wants to go and start their village, their community on their farm. Reach out and say, okay, is there anyone who has this experience? Has anyone built this? Has anyone done this? They put it out there and people are coming into this conversation and they'll have an exchange of knowledge today. We just need to put it out there. And if it's the platform we need, go to forblackpower.org, propose an action, put whatever action you're looking to do. If it's a webinar, if it's a live talk, if it's feeding the hood, if it's going out to the community, anything you're doing, put it out there, say that you're open for collaboration and watch our people show up for you.
Dang right. And on that note, thank you all for showing up for us. There's so many people on the live that have sent amazing messages. Ayman is asking a question. Is there model leadership in Africa, as in right now? Who do we look up to? I think ourselves, man. Like, I think I'm of the opinion that you can't be waiting for a certain leader a face to carry that message forward. Like I think we got to be this movement is coming from the people, from the ground up, and the people have said enough is enough. There is no government representation that no longer that I'm going to look at so that it carries my message forth. There is power in the collective message that's coming from the ground, from people. And I think that is a testament from all the revolutions that are even going on right now in Africa, that
and the diaspora.
And I think also just that it's being silent and not being covered. But the one, for example, in Sudan right now, that is a revolution led by the people, for the people, quite literally. People have gotten together and said, enough is enough. We've had this dictator since I was born, like 30 years now. Enough is enough, and we're all coming collectively. So who is the face? I think the face is the people, like a sea. I just see a sea of Black people. And that is the face that I want to look at and say, that's what represents me. The power of all of us, the good. I think our time is coming up. We don't want to drop all the jewels here, because I think we want y'all to come back. You know what I'm saying? But thank y'all for all the support.
Yes.
There's so many people on the Instagram live too that have sent shout outs, supporting messages, love. Arsheen, Rita, Courtney,
hey.
Dahlia joined also, Amani, everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody, and it wasn't intentional if I did, but thank you all for the support and love.
And for those watching us later, not live, love and support to you too. Yes. Share. And until next time, tell us what you want us to talk about. Tell us what you need us to share some light, shed some light, bring some magic, and rant our rainbows on.
Yes.
We need more coffee.
We'll be doing this bi-weekly. So the next time we're looking at December 6th. Same setup. We're just gonna be here having a conversation. Please bring your questions, engagement. We loved it. And it's the whole point of it, the community, us coming together and having the conversations, but also taking some things away that we can do. And that's what we're about. Like, we got to do something. And if that means we got to talk about it to inspire and bring in ideas and debate these things, so we can leave here feeling uplifted in the collective coming together and strategizing and going out and doing something, that's what we're here for.
One thing for them to do. Yes. One thing today for them to do. Go.
Share something positive. Share what it is that you're doing. And if you're not doing something today on the Global Day of Action, share something else that somebody's doing that you believe in. And I think we got to amplify ourselves to send those positive messages. So do.
Jean-Michel, one thing to do today. What do you tell our people?
Support. I would just go with it. I was just, snapping to what Inas was saying. I mean, he said it all. I think that's exactly that. Do what Inas said.
Do what Inas said. Yes.
That's dangerous. I don't know if you want to, I don't know. All right, Jara, go ahead. Last words.
Again, going with what Inas said, support, channel, and also what Dima said, channel that energy into something positive, something creative, something that, will help you and your people move forward. So do that. And also, we've decided we've decided that we're gonna have reactions, right? So that's going to be a little bit more fun. We'll pick a movie or a show that of course represents our people, made by us, or actually sometimes we'll make it a little fun, made by other folks about us, and then comment, and those will be a little bit more fun and engaging.
Yes, indeed. We're looking forward for the next time, December 6th. Put it on your calendar. We'll be blasting it. This is being recorded. We're also going to post it on our social media accounts. Please follow us, subscribe, shout out, give us shout outs. We're all here for it. For now, we're going to put our sign to BRB. Till next time, we're chasing unicorns in the meantime and doing great things. You know what I'm saying? But until next time, we hope you hope everybody's doing well. Holidays are coming up. Enjoy your time with the family. And please talk about it and share and subscribe.
And learn about the history of this holiday. If you are in the US, find that history. Learn to teach. Find that stolen land. Yes.
Yes.
While you chop that turkey. I'm not jealous.
All right. Well, much love, y'all. African Unicorn signing out. Peace.